Good evening, all you plastic model builders out there on YouTube. This is Dan Leone on Plastic Model Building 101. This is part 2 of building the Tamiya 148 scale Japanese Zero A6M5c. As we talked about before, prior to assembling a model, we opened the kit and we looked at the instructions, and as you can see that Tamiya has came out with 2 sets of instructions. One's in Japanese and the other one's in English and in German, and also in, I think, Spanish, I'm not sure. Anyway, what we talked about is prior to painting or assembling to the model, you want to clean the parts, because when the parts come out of the molds, prior to entering the molds, they are sprayed down with a mold release agent, which is oil based. And when the plastic is injected into the molds and the plastic is cooled, then the plastic comes out of the molds and packaged, boxed, and sent out. So you always want to clean the parts prior to painting and assembly. Why? Because number one, you're not going to have a good bond of the glue, and 2, you're not going to have and the paint will not cure properly to the surface. So what do we use to clean these parts with? Well, the easiest solution to that is I use Dawn. Dawn, you can get this at any supermarket, dollar store. This is a dishwashing detergent. You can get this at any store. And my suggestion for those of you who that are married or have a significant other, you might want to buy a bottle for yourself, so that way your wife or girlfriend or significant other does not raise hell with you about stealing the dishwashing soap. So anyway, that. And you also want to have a toothbrush and some lukewarm water, and clean the parts. Dip them in the warm soapy water. Scrub them down with a really nice with a good toothbrush, and then rinse them off. And then let the parts air dry overnight. And make sure you keep your parts away from small children, or keep them away from, if you have a menacing cat like one cat I have, not to mention his name, Boudreaux, or just anything. You just want to keep your parts, out of the way, and not only that, but you want to keep them covered, so that way the dust won't come on your parts, and not to mention you want your parts to drip and air dry overnight, or just during the day. Another method, if you don't want to wait, another method you can use, I have this plastic prep by Testers. Make sure you keep this away from little kids, because they see this, they might think this is a soda pop drink or whatever, and try to drink it. Next thing you know, you're rushing them to the ER and get all kinds of craziness. So you always want to make sure that your solvents are put away. So anyway, that's safety briefing a bit. Now, plastic prep is alcohol based, so you can just spray it on and just let it air dry. It evaporates in a few minutes, and you go ahead and start painting or assembling your model. Another thing you can use is Tamiya X20 thinner. This is basically straight alcohol, and you can use this to go ahead and spray this in your airbrush straight. Same thing with this too. You can do this straight, spray it all around, and just get all the oil off the surface of the plastic. Now, the only way you can tell when your parts are cleaned, especially if you're using warm soapy water, well, anytime when you take the model out of the plastic and you rub your finger, you notice that there's a slight oily sheen. Okay, that's what you want to get off. So this part has already been cleaned with warm soapy water by Dawn. As you can hear, it's very squeaky. You can hear it. That means the part's clean. So this is a clean part. So once all this is cleaned and ready to go, you are now ready to paint and pre-assemble your model. So until next time, this is Dan Leone, Plastic Model Building 101, and we will start our assembly on the model. Good night.